Joining us now is Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman Schiff, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your time today.
You bet.
So we've got this first announcement about a first hearing. Is there bipartisan cooperation in terms of the witness list, in terms of the initial scope and direction of your investigation, or is this all Chairman Nunes at this point?
No, there is bipartisan agreement on the scope of the investigation, and we hammered out a very lengthy and detailed plan that we both signed off on. That part is very bipartisan. I fully support the open hearing, and frankly, I hope we have as many open hearings as possible, and we can bring the public into this process. Obviously, much of this will have to be done in closed session, but I fully support the witness list for this full hearing, first hearing, and what's more, we ought to be able to get to the bottom of this charge made by President Trump in the course of a single hearing. That will probably be the easiest issue to resolve. Is this a scandal, as he has said, of mammoth proportion where the former president illegally wiretapped him? Or is this a scandal of a very different kind where our current president has made a reckless and baseless allegation of criminality against his predecessor? We should get that answer on March 20th, and I intend to ask Director Comey very clearly, and if the public reports are accurate, that he wanted the Department of Justice to speak out. The director will have his own opportunity on March 20th to tell us whether there's any merit or this is a complete fabrication by the President of the United States.
On that point about the wiretapping allegation, what I found most shocking about those allegations from the president about President Obama was not that the current president made a wild allegation that may have not been based in fact or may have been based on something that he saw on a conspiratorial media site or something. That didn't surprise me as much as the word from the White House that after President Trump made these allegations, the White House counsel, Don McGahn, sought information about any FISA warrant that might have authorized wiretapping of Trump associates or Trump staffers during the campaign. It would seem to me, just my layman's reading of this, that that's not the sort of thing that the White House counsel's office should be able to obtain or even get information about. Isn't that a totally separate and independent national security process?
It is, and I think you're exactly right. There may be circumstances where it's appropriate for White House counsel to seek information about a counterterrorism or a counterintelligence investigation that has led to a FISA wiretap, but not under the circumstances where he's asking whether there's a wiretap of his boss or associates of his boss. That would be completely inappropriate. And if he did that, then he's not a particularly good White House counsel, and this president probably needs the very best White House counsel and probably a whole team of really good lawyers. But I can't see any circumstance where it would be appropriate for the president's lawyer effectively to go to the Justice Department and say, what have you got on my boss?
Congressman, one last quick question for you. One of the things we've been talking about this evening is the interesting reappearance in London of the former MI6 officer who wrote that uncorroborated, very salacious dossier of alleged Russian dirt on President Trump that made such a big splash right before the inauguration in January. He had gone into hiding after that dossier was initially published. He's now back in person. There's been some mixed reporting on whether or not the U.S. investigations into the contacts between the Trump campaign and the Russians would like to speak to him. Do you know if the House Intelligence Committee, of which you're the ranking Democrat, will seek testimony from him, whether we should expect to hear from him at all as American citizens in terms of what he found and what he published?
Well, I'll certainly be requesting his testimony, and if there's an issue about whether he is willing to come before the committee, I can say I am more than willing to go to him, and I know there are other members of the committee that would join me in that. So if it's an issue of his not wanting to appear or not wanting to come here and face questions from the whole committee, we more than welcome his cooperation in any manner that he is comfortable. We certainly want to get to the bottom of the details of that dossier and report, what has been substantiated, what hasn't, and find out just how he based those conclusions and to whatever degree he is willing to share with us any sources of his information.
Congressman Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, making some news here on that subject with us tonight. Thank you.